Okay, well, hi everyone. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartery here today with another episode of Presenting Champions. Today is episode 236, I think. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Phil Pelly, British Spartan bare knuckle pit fighting champion. Very exciting fighter in the pit, very active, been in there with some of the best in some of the most brutal form of combat sport in the world, bare knuckle pit fighting. So we've got a lot to talk about today. As always with my interviews, it's not just the fighting stuff, but also the inspiration and the hope and the positivity that comes in. What this man has overcome today is amazing to get where he is. So, champ, thank you for coming on the show, and I'm glad we're finally getting this done. It's amazing.
Always a pleasure. No worries, Liam. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but we're here. We're here. We can reveal to the world who I am and why I'm here and what I'm doing. But yeah, thank you. Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, exciting stuff. So, like I was saying just now before we started recording, I see you've got the belt there. So, can you show the world your belt and talk to us a little bit about how it feels to be
So
champion?
I can show the world the belt. This is my prize asset at the minute, and it pretty much doesn't leave my side, and it's never gonna. To be fair, not yet. Not till I'm ready to give it up.
Absolutely, yeah. Amazing feeling being champion. So talk to us a little bit about, obviously we'll talk about the fight now in a moment, but what has the reaction been like for the people around you, your family, your friends, people on social media, in terms of like the attention and the exposure that you're getting now being champion? How has everyone reacted to it around you, like in your circle and everything?
I'll be honest with you, Liam. My circle is very small. I probably have two or three close friends who I see like not even that often. I like to keep myself to myself. I go to work, I come home, I train. So sometimes I actually forget that I'm champion, and I realise because it's not. Although I've got the belt, it's more an achievement personally inside. So really, obviously, my family, my dad, he doesn't. He doesn't really like me doing it, but he understands. My mum, she's dead proud, yeah, but obviously I'm a son, and she doesn't want to see me get hurt. But fingers crossed so far. I've had no real serious injuries. But yeah, no, I forget sometimes, and then I have to pinch myself and think, you know what, I am actually a champion, and I've achieved something. So shout it out. So since I won the belt, I've been through ups and downs. I've promoted myself, probably not as much as I could do, but now I think the fans, it's more for the fans. It'd be selfish of me to not interact more and people want to see the champ and talk about the champ. So why not? It won't last forever. So I need to enjoy the moment while I can and realise that, it's a massive achievement, really. Yeah, embrace it.
Absolutely, yeah, it is a massive achievement, and it's something to be so proud of, like you were saying now, even if that pride is just like for yourself, when you're looking in the mirror and that type of thing, what you've achieved and what you've overcome to achieve it, which we'll get to in a minute, is absolutely amazing. Before we do though, I mean, the fight itself, obviously need to give this a mention. Besides winning the belt and that side of it itself, what was your favorite part of the fight in terms of anything about it, in terms of the crowd, the atmosphere, your opponent maybe? I mean, I don't mind, but just in your own words here.
Is this in the fight where I won the belt or
Yeah,
fight?
specifically that one. We'll come back to the other fights in a minute because I know you've had a few. But just like I said, starting with the explosive story of how you won the belt, it's amazing achievement. So yeah, specifically that fight, just your favorite memories from it, really, to be honest.
Okay. Well, I fought a guy called Jonas Simkus. I think he's quite a young kid, 26, 27 maybe. Don't quote me on that, could be wrong. I'm just turned 40 now, so I know I can't probably go the distance with these young kids. So I know I've got the power through my core strength and through the work that I do that I'm going to catch them at some point. If I catch them, I'm confident enough in my ability to control a fight, and I'm intelligent enough to use my energy wisely and to let them consume their energy, and then I can react off that. But I think that there's things in the pit that you don't know. There's ways to win and advantages, but unless you've been in there, you won't know. Now, I've got three main advantages that I use that I've worked out myself being in the pit. Two of them I can't tell you. One of them, a lot of the fights get broke up when you're back on the hay bales. So if instead of going straight forward and going to land them on the hay bales themselves as you're progressing forward, for it to get stopped. If I see them going back, I like to swipe a hook and try and keep them in the pit And if I can hit them one more time after that before they hit the hay bales, that could be the game changer. Just that one punch, because you could go through a fight. You could go through a fight taking blows after blows, and take them and get caught by that one shot. So I don't get paid overtime, so I like to get in, job done, and get out. But Jonas Simkus, I mean, who won the belt off, he was a tough kid. I remember Christian telling me about the fight, and he said, "You've got your work cut out here, so just make sure you're ready." And I was just coming down to walk into the pit, and I don't really have any fear at all. I'm more scared walking into the pit and just life in general around me. But when I get in the pit, it feels like there's no one else in there but me. I'm totally in charge of everything. Emotions shut down. I don't see my opponent as an enemy. I see myself, a version of myself in front of me that I've let build up between fights, and then I've released myself on myself. I never really remember the fights till after. I've just totally shut down, and my mind goes just I can't explain it. But Jonas was a good kid. He was a hard kid, and I knew that he wasn't. His shots weren't hurting me. They weren't hurting me. So I knew if I could let him waste a few shots just by covering up and take them, and then I'd throw some big heavy ones. And at the end of the first round, I could see it was affecting him. We got to the end of the second round, and I was fine, absolutely fine. But I hadn't thrown an overhand left, and I knew he was tired, and his reactions were slow. So I threw the big heavy overhand left, and it caught nicely. And yeah, the referee stopped it then. He perforated the eardrum, I think, was bleeding, and yeah, he didn't know. The medics are great in that respect. They don't, if they see the fighter's in distress and it can continue, but it's probably going to get more hurt, then they'll stop it, which is great. Spartan medics, like, top job. But Jonas, good kid. Utmost respect for everyone. But no, I mean, there's no. I mean, you create your own demons in life through making choices, and so you can't really blame anybody for having demons, but deal with them. So this is the way I deal with them. And in there, I don't like I say, there's no enemies. It's just that's the way it's the only satisfaction I can get fulfilling the purpose of why I need to do it. Just I wouldn't get it through boxing. I wouldn't get it through any other sport. I need that instant attack. Yeah. But Jonas was a good kid, strong kid. But yeah, I had no problem knowing that I was going to control the fight. Like I say, I'm a featherweight, but I think I can hit like a middleweight or even a heavyweight. I've got a fair dig. So if you don't catch it, I can take a dig. It's only a matter of time before I hit you, and yeah, most people feel it. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Well, it's an amazing insight into it that you don't get all of that just from watching a fight or anything. I mean, it's obviously the fight in your own words, which is amazing. And like I said to you, I've started there. Now shortly we'll come back to some of your other fights, what it's like working with Christian, working with Spartan as a promotion, all of that. We'll come back to all that. But before we do, you mentioned about your purpose for getting in the pit in the first place. You mentioned about your motivation and how you wouldn't get that from other sports. So as I understand it, and you can sort of elaborate on this for me and for everyone watching and listening, for you, it sort of started with abusive relationships, which is something that
I mean, before we go on, can I just say that? Sorry to interrupt you. Can I just say that I know, I've made some bad decisions in life, and I know and there's things that I'm gonna have to deal with that I've been put off for years and years, and things that I can't get away from, that I'm gonna have to eventually confront. So I mean, sometimes when you go through things and you make bad decisions, you don't think you deserve anything good to happen, which was where we're coming to now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a profound statement, that is. I mean, already, we're getting into this in like a brutally honest way, which I know that's the type of person you are. I know that's obviously what you want to do with this. And obviously is what I want to do as well, because I love the rawness of getting into these type of things to help people. But also I got a lot of respect for what we're about to share, because it is personal, and putting this out there is a brave thing to do. I don't care who you are. Putting this out there, I would say, it takes as much bravery as getting in a pit or doing something like that, putting it out there in public. So I respect that, and I respect you a lot for sharing it, as well as your achievements in the pit.
I am pretty nervous to share. I am pretty nervous to talk about it. Yeah. But I am ready. Yeah.
That's okay. Well, we'll take our time with it. So, in your own words, though, champ, like I mentioned, this thing about like abusive relationship, not something that a lot of men talk about, even though I'm sure it's something that actually does go on much more than people
Yeah,
realize. So,
yeah,
in your own words, can you share with us a little bit about your experiences with that situation to
of
start
course I
off
can.
with? Yeah.
Yeah. I was with a partner for 3 years. At first, it was great. It was fine. All relationships are. But she was quite a heavy drinker. So as time went on, it was during lockdown, or just before lockdown, and then during lockdown, I'd go to work maybe for the first two. For half the relationship, the first year and a half was probably me going to work, coming home, her being drunk, and just that instant interaction of like of of, of violence and abuse for actual no reason, and other than like that I can't explain it other than just pure anger, and for me that was it was new, but the circumstance I was in at the time, I I used to come from work, she'd all kick off, just purely because she was drunk. So I was scared to come home a lot of the time. So probably for a year and a half, I'd come home, she'd have a rant and throw things, and then I'd go in the front room and I'd push the sofa behind the door and stay there until I knew she'd gone to sleep, and then in the morning I'd go to work, come home from work, exactly the same again. It was, but I'm intelligent enough and smart enough to know it. I was aware it was going on and conscious that it was wrong, and it shouldn't be there. But I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody that I couldn't handle, well, no girlfriend. Because a lot of people just think, oh, it must be you. You must have done something, but that really wasn't the case. So I just put up with it, and now I find myself, I still make decisions now based on the times where I was with her, and it frustrates me because it changed me. Like I'm conscious now about things that I never was. Like I'm walking down the street and someone's driving past, and even if they catch the light, I think, oh, I wonder if I'm too skinny, or just little things. Or if you look at somebody, oh, I shouldn't look at them. It's really little things, but they stay with me, and I can't quite shake them off because it's just a instant reaction. So the frustration that I still let it bother me, I save that, and then before the fight I shut down, and I bring all this to the forefront, and that is my it was a tough 3 years, and then the second year and a half of the relationship, that was during lockdown. So as you can imagine, I couldn't even get out of the house, and it was an absolute nightmare. It got to the point where I didn't speak to my dad at the time, but I reached out to him, and he said to me, are you in a position where you can get out of there now? And I was, but I had to sneak out. So she went to the shop, packed the bags, hid them downstairs in the block of flats under the stairs. And then when she came home, I said, I'm going to walk the dog, and left, and I never went back. Yeah, and from then, my dad got me a house with my brother. And I've had a kickboxing background, but I've always been fascinated with bare knuckle. When I saw pit fighting, I thought, this is you don't know who you are or what you can do unless you do it. So I thought, everyone's human like me, so why not? And I had a visualization that, I'm strong enough inside to know that I can come back from this, and I can be whoever I want. So I joined Spartan, and I'm told, and the power of visualization, by the way, is absolutely unreal. I'm living proof. If you can go from nothing to seeing something, wanting it that bad, that you can get it, and it's as simple as that. But you have to want it that bad, and you have to cut things and make big decisions. But yeah, and I wanted this, and I told everyone I was getting it. As I went and joined Spartan, and a year later, baby's mine. Just turned 40, won the belt. Hopefully, I'm going to defend it against Ben Hatchett on the next fight, and then hopefully get a European and a world title fight in this year, and still retire, turn 40, win all 3 titles in 1 year, and then leave a legacy, and that's me done.
Wow, that is incredible. First of all, mate, I mean, the story about, as I just said, what you've overcome there, and how you've sort of come through that and everything, and obviously not just the experience of being with the girl and the abuse and all that, but also like the after effects, as you said, the frustration, the feeling people are looking. I mean, it sounds a little bit.
I think that's what stays with you the longest. The fact that it changes you, and at the time you were aware that you're being changed, but you just, I don't know, out of I don't know, just not having many other options. You really, yeah, I was ready to end it all. That was with my dad phone me, that was the last straw. I was in the car. I was in the car on my own, and I had enough tablets to do it. And I got a message off my dad when I was in the car, and I don't think if he had a message me, I, you know, I, you know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But there's so I turned to drugs. After that I turned to cocaine. Quite bad. To the point where I was in contact with Darren from obviously Safeguarding All Fighters and Eventualities. Darren Wilson, shout out, brilliant guy, very knowledgeable and constructive in his ways of just communicating with you when you need him. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll give him a big I'll give Darren a big shout out as well, because he's an amazing individual. Darren, he's been on this show, so big shout out to him and massive respect to him and everything he does, helping so many people behind the scenes. So obviously, when it comes into your actual fights as well as winning the belt, you've been in there with some of the best names, with some great people. So can you walk us through, basically walk us through the fights you've had so far, give a mention to a few of the lads and just talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sparta, where do I start? I mean, nothing but respect and good things to say about Sparta and all the lads. I mean, all the fighters in the group chat, and for people who do bare knuckle pit fighting and be fighting each other, there's nothing but utmost respect and gentlemen in that. And I made some great friends just from joining Sparta. And sometimes for me, it's been a part of something. Where everyone's been through something that brings us together. And I mean, you could be fighting somebody one week and they could be reaching out to you the next week, and you could be, you could have the same problems, and it's a family really. So my first fight was with Shane Wood. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew he'd had 4 fights already, and so this was my first pit fight. I went straight into a new blood's title, and yeah, he caught me with a cracking right hook. And pretty much put me to sleep. Second fight, I wanted the win so bad. I actually fought Jack McLean. Now, when I was on the first event, when I fought Shane Wood, I was supposed to fight Jack McLean, but because of pandemic, things got changed. So Jack ended up fighting somebody else, Curtis Nelson, I think he did. Yeah, and I fought Shane. So Jack McLean actually stayed at my house for when I fought Shane Wood, and he fought Curtis Nelson. And then on the next show, I was actually fighting Jack. So it's like, and now me and Jack, we communicate really like a lot. But Jack McLean, he caught me with a nice clean body shot, which had a bad impact on my ribs, and I was I crumbled. So after that, I was in 2 minds to pull, and I thought, no. And because they're only human, so I knew there's a way around everything. So I studied everything, and my intelligence taught me to like that. I just changed my game plan and keep it simple. And I watched a video of somebody who fought big guys, and I think he'd had like 60 fights and not lost one. And it was as simple as he hit them first. And in the game of bare knuckle, if you hit them first, that's a huge advantage. And if you hit them first, so I can't tell you. I'm going to tell you a little a premature vision before fights, but I can't do that because it would be too much away. But yeah, so yeah. And then we got onto Joan. No, we fought Don Wilkinson after Jack McLean. I changed the game plan. I came straight out. I didn't give him a chance to move, blink, breathe. I hit him first. I kept hitting him, and then I ended up dropping him with a jab. It's just so the simplest shots sometimes they're quite effective. And he was gone. He was down. The referee stopped it. So I knew then that Christian said to me on the end of the show. He said, I'll speak to you, might have a title fight lined up for you. And then I find out I was fighting Jonas, the story I've just told you about. That went well. And then I defended against Scott Mason. Scott Mason, I think he was a fan when he joined Spartan, and he was really honoured and privileged. Like he was fighting like an up and coming star in me in Spartan, and a true gentleman of the sport. Which for me is like that's up there with winning the belt. You know, being highly thought of by other fighters and fans. It's not just about being a good fighter. It's about how you carry yourself and how you promote yourself, and you know, because you're not only representing yourself, you represent the Spartan and the whole family really. So Scott Mason, I'll be honest with Scott Mason, I was in a bad place. He trained for 8 weeks solid every day, and at that point I must have trained for 2 days. 2 days I probably trained for altogether. But I knew that what I had up there and the power and my timing and the speed, I thought I don't worry or have any doubt about myself anymore in a fight. As far as I'm concerned, when I walk up to that pit, everything's released, everything's left outside. I don't like the person that I am when I have to use that frustration, but in a weird way, I can shut my mind down and just focus on what needs to be done, and yeah, I would do it. And how quickly, because obviously I'm 40 now, so I need to get these last finished off pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible. I mean, everything about like the lads you fought, the mindset that you have to compete in, all of it really. I'm glad that we touched on your future plans as well, you know, with the European title, world title, you know, packing those in. Well, you still can and everything. Absolutely amazing. And I tell you what, man, you know, after you've won those, you know, or a little bit further down the road, come back to me and we'll do another one of these and we'll update everybody on what's happened there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, obviously, you mentioned about visualizing earlier. You mentioned about that. You mentioned about, you know, this,
Yeah.
and I love to get into the mindset of
Yeah.
like what people do. So, and this shouldn't give anything away because like you said earlier, I never want to give people's fighting secrets away. But in terms of the mindset, I think the mindset, you can flip that on its head because the mindset helps other people to succeed as well. Like it gives them hope and inspiration in their lives.
Yeah.
The power of visualizing. So share with us basically what's going through your mind on the build up to a big fight. I mean, it's as simple as that, really.
You can, you know, Liam, you can plan how the fight's going to go in your head and what you're going to do and how you're going to start. But in all respect to anyone who believes that when you get in the ring, maybe intelligent fighters are probably better fighters, because they can think and get hit and keep thinking and keep getting hit, and it's a dangerous gift to have, if you say. But going into the fight, mindset is indestructible. The mindset is bulletproof. It has to be. It's not a game. It's the purest form of one-on-one in the smallest space possible. Apart from the phone box fight, but yeah. So it's mindset has to be bulletproof. The fans just want to see blood, but you're putting your life on the line. You know what I mean? So you're going in there unprepared. You're putting your life at risk, and so you have to be bulletproof training. You have to make sure your training is on point. All these come into effect if you don't train enough, and your partner and your opponent trains more. You have to think in your head that you're doing more than your opponent's doing at every time of the day. Every time of the day. I'm sat here right now. Ben's probably training. So as soon as I'm done, I'm off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the way, man. Dedication. And yeah, Ben Hatchett as well. Shout out to him as well.
Yeah,
great opponent for you. Yeah, great opponent, big name opponent as well. And great match. You know, yeah. So obviously working with Spartan as a promotion as well. I mean, we've got to give them a little bit of a shout out in terms of Christian and you know, the other fighters, because one of the things I love about it, amazing amount of respect between you guys, amazing connection, like a big family. Absolutely love that. But in your own words, take it away with just what it's like working with them as a team, basically, you know.
Well, the team, I mean, from the DJ up to the medics, up to the owners, Christian and Ash. I mean, what they wouldn't do for you if you needed them. You know, they'd go leaps and bounds to help you out in any situation if you needed them. They give you a platform. They you get paid, you're really you're welcomed by everyone, introduced into like a different world, and then what comes with that is a sense of happiness as well, and belonging somewhere. It's not just like they're your bosses or they own a company. They're involved, and they ask you if you're okay, and they, you know what I mean, if you're in, or you need anything, they don't hesitate to offer their services, or if they can in any way help, then that's always there. So I mean, I have nothing but love and respect for Spartan there. Ash and Christian, they're absolutely out of this world, and for me, a big part of being, I want to make them proud. You know, I want because they are such good, they're so good to us. It would be wrong to not try and make them, you know, proud, like children, like their kids.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, but I mean, because not a lot of fight organisations have a side partnership who help fighters out, which going back to Darren Wilson, you know, if you're feeling down or any mental problems, Darren's there, you know, the team is there, and they're always there. So to know that, to be in a fighter and to know that, it's massive. It's absolutely massive, because guaranteed there's always somebody who's been through or going through the same circumstance, different folks, different strokes, but circumstances sometimes are quite similar. So yeah, it's a definitely the platform to reach out, the platform to progress, the platform to be a better person, the platform to follow your dreams, the platform to take over the world. It's there. All you have to do is want it. But it doesn't come easy. To you get to want it is one thing, but to get it, it's hard work. But when that hard work pays off, it makes it so much worthwhile. And I'm 40 now, and I know, and so in my head, that's even a bigger achievement, because these kids I'm fighting, they're like 26, 30, and they've got the stamina but they haven't got I don't know, they haven't got what I've got. They haven't got what I've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love it. I mean, I love the story, and I love also how the sport is basically like a form of healing for you. You know, I mean, I know you said about like releasing the frustration, releasing some of these emotions, proving to yourself what you can do, you know, and this is the beautiful thing about, I would say about combat sports in general, but specifically about what we're talking about with pit fighting and everything. It's amazing, man, because I've had so many people on the show. They've overcome drug addiction, they've overcome mental health, they've overcome so, I mean, even Scott Mason, who you fought recently, he was on my show recently, and talking about overcoming heroin addiction, and being in prison and all sorts of stuff, man. And like the sport saves people like that
Oh man,
from
doesn't
death.
it? Scott Mason, he's nothing but respect for Scott again. Top lad. Again, all these fighters, when you fight with them, you don't it's not just have a fight with them. It starts off a bond that only you and them have together, because you both share that need to fulfill the need that you need to fulfill, and it you don't create animosity after. No matter how the fight goes, or if you have a hate for your opponent, when you come out of a fight like that, you have nothing but love and respect for each other. There's nothing, you know. And the first thing I do before I even celebrate is go over to the fighter, you know, make sure they're all right. If you notice, when I fought Scott Mason, I jumped on the hay bales, I had my celebration, which I always do, and then someone passed me the belt, and I threw on the hay bale, jumped off, went to see Scott. As soon as I saw Scott was all right, raised his arm as a warrior and carried on with my celebrations. But yeah, I mean, yeah, because without them, without other fighters, I wouldn't be fighting. So you know, they as much as I'm doing it for myself, I need the fighters there to make me want it, or make me prove to myself that I've got it.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you definitely have got it, and the future is very, very bright. Shout out, obviously, to all of your opponents as well. I mean, because I know I mentioned Scott there, but I'm not picking favorites, all of them. I mean, Dommy's been on the show, coming back from like attempted suicide, and everybody you fought,
Yeah,
and everybody in Spartan as a whole, like all the
yeah.
Spartan family, they all deserve massive amount of respect. And like I said,
It's a shame as well, because although people are on the up and on the mend, there's days where they don't feel like they're on the mend, and when they feel like that, to have Spartan to be at all hours, 24/7, 365 days a year for the rest of your life, as long as you're involved with them, to have that there, it's it helps. It's such a not it's over. Yeah, it is. I'd say it's overwhelming thinking, knowing that there's people there who actually really they really care, and you can talk about anything with these guys. You know, tough as they are, you can talk about anything, and if they can help you, and they can help you, they will do. But so going back to people being on the mend, yeah, people being on the mend, and if you have them bad days, and you haven't got anyone to phone or anyone around you to support, and it's easy to fall back to old habits, and you know, the strong people won't, but they could do. But having Spartan there and everyone part of that, they encourage you to be the best person you can be throughout the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All encouraging each other and all lifting each other up. Absolutely. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, the story, I mean, your story, your life story is so inspiring. I mean, it's inspiring everything you've overcome, as I mentioned, and the person that you are, not just the person you are in the pit, you know, but the what things you've overcome outside of it as well.
Yeah.
Massive respect for that. And I hope this interview gives people some hope, some inspiration, and everything, as I mentioned. Is there anyone else?
And as well, can I just say, Liam, as well? Like
Yeah.
I say, I'm not just here for everyone else in Spartan as well. And if anyone's going through the same, if anyone out there is going through the same stuff or needs to talk, get in touch. You'll be surprised even just talking to somebody that if you haven't spoken about anything, or just talk to somebody. And my message inbox is always open for people like that. You know, as people were for me. So that carries on. That carries on in the circle for me. It's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So yeah, anyone who needs to reach out, give us a shout.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And anyone else you'd like to thank before we wrap this up? Is there anyone that we've missed, even the people who watch your fights or anything like that, or have we covered everybody?
Yeah, I mean, just all the support online recently, more so since the fight with Ben's been announced. People have Ben's obviously he's got a big following. Ben, I've been in contact with him on Messenger. Nothing but respect, you know what I mean? I know his story and stuff, and man, what he's been through and from where he is as well today. I think our journeys are quite similar. He has a powerful mind and he's an intelligent boy. So this is a fight that I'm not taking easy. You know, this is a dangerous fight for me, dangerous as it is for him. I know what's at stake. He knows what's at stake. Yeah, so I do not take him lightly. There's no such thing as a small enemy. You know, or an opponent. The guy can hit. You don't call him one bomb hatchet for nothing. But again, built to the fight, bulletproof mindset. But yeah, this is a big fight. This is a big fight for both of us. Yeah. But Ben, it's going back to being in contact with him. We've spoken about making content and about promoting the fight. But I mean, I'm not doing it for that. I'm just doing it for me. I'm like, I don't want all I want this. I've got this. This is what I want. I need to promote myself through Spartan, for Spartan, which I do. But I mean, as soon as I take over the world, I'm done. You know, I'm gonna. So like I say, my goal was to turn 40, win the belt, win the European belt, win the world belt, and retire still 40, and that's still achievable. So this is my last test. Ben Hatchett is just another obstacle in the road, but he will prevail to my success.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it, man. Love the message. Incredible story. And like I said to you, I'm so glad that we've been able to do this at long last, and you know, for people to know more about you, what makes you tick, like the ins and outs of your story. Absolutely incredible. I mean, the last thing for me to do is just to thank you for your time, and thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for being an open book as well and sharing everything, you know.
Thank you. And like I said, thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone on social media who's getting behind me and the support. It is quite, we are getting talked about quite a lot now, and it's quite, I don't really know how to deal with it. So I just tend to not get carried away with it. I accept the nice, really nice messages and stuff and comments, and all I can do is put on a show. And yeah, thank you to everybody involved, everybody who's helped me on the way, and everybody who hasn't. Look, so.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, this is the thing. Prove the supporters right and prove the haters wrong. So it's a win-win. thank you for your time, champ, and best of luck for this next fight as well. Look forward to watching. As well as that, you know, like I said, when you got more of those belts and everything, we'll do another one of these. We'll update everybody. But in the meantime, best of luck and maximum respect to you. Thank you for coming on the show, man. It's been awesome.
Thank you, Liam. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. One love.
One love. Yeah, I'll just stop it recording just a sec so we can. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.